4 goals, 90 minutes, and one nation in shock. On 25th March 2025, Argentina didn't just beat Brazil. They ripped the soul out of the yellow shirt, handing the Seleção their heaviest World Cup qualifier defeat ever, 4-1. A scoreline that echoed like a funeral bell through Rio's alleyways and São Paulo's skyscrapers alike. For the first time in generations, Brazilians stopped arguing about who should start on the left wing and started asking a darker question. Has the magic finally died? But football never stays dead for long. When you hit rock bottom, there's only one direction left. And so, in a move that stunned purists and thrilled pragmatists, the Brazilian Football Confederation reached across the Atlantic and hired the most decorated club manager on earth, Carlo Ancelotti, to drag the 4-year cycle out of the abyss. Yet hiring a legend is easy. Rebuilding an identity is a war. This is the untold story of Ancelotti's first call-up, the 23 names he chose, the idols he left behind, and the revolution he plans to unleash. Match 1 kicks off in just days. Ready? Let's dive. Brazil was once football's North Star, the reference point every nation calibrated against. But dynasties fade when trophies do, and the Seleção's cabinet has gathered dust. No World Cup since 2002. No Copa America since 2019. The slide became a landslide on that March night in Buenos Aires. Julian Alvarez struck after 4 minutes. Argentina's press suffocated Brazil's midfield, and by the final whistle, even the most die-hard supporters had switched channels. As memes flooded social media, Maradona laughing, Messi smirking, Brazilian pundits uttered a phrase once unthinkable. The canary has lost its wings. The defeat shredded what little patience remained for manager Dorival Jr. Less than 2 months later, he became the 3rd coach dismissed in a single qualifying cycle, proof that swapping shirts on the touchline does nothing if the fabric itself is fraying. In downtown bars, fans confessed a fear they'd never voiced. Maybe Brazil had become just another good team, no longer the standard. Politicians sensed the mood. Sponsors fretted about the brand. The CBF knew symbolism mattered. They had to swing for the fences, and so on a late May afternoon, the most astonishing phone call in Brazilian football history was answered in Madrid. Carlo Ancelotti needed no introduction. 5 Champions League titles, league crowns in England, Spain, Italy, Germany, and France, plus a reputation for taming egos without ever raising his voice. But this new adventure was something different. No training ground routine, no weekend doubleheaders. International management is a chess match played on a ticking clock. Still, the allure of the World Cup and the mystique of Brazil hooked him. Negotiations were marathon sessions, complicated by Real Madrid's summer tour and Ancelotti's own declaration that Los Blancos would be his final club job. Yet on 26 May 2025, contracts were signed. Newspapers blared O Italiano Chega, while European outlets ran stunned op-eds. Can the calmest man in football survive the hottest seat on earth? Fans gathered outside CBF headquarters, some waving flags, others holding rosaries. The Ancelotti era had begun, not with samba drums, but with a slow, deliberate heartbeat. 2 days later, another earthquake hit, this time in the boardroom. Just 24 hours before Ancelotti's unveiling, Samir Saud was elected president of the CBF, ending weeks of courtroom drama that had toppled Ednaldo Rodriguez. Saud, a bespectacled businessman from Roraima, strode to the podium and promised a clean slate, zero interference. In private, he told confidants, "If Carlo can't fix this, no one can." He granted full autonomy over selections, travel logistics, even nutritional staff, an unheard-of concession inside the famously politicized federation. Brazil's press nicknamed the duo the Quiet Revolution, an executive who prefers spreadsheets and a coach who prefers silence over shouting. Autonomy in hand, Ancelotti walked into a 5-star hotel in Barra da Tijuca and read out 23 names that would ignite every group chat from Recife to Porto Alegre. First name, Alisson Becker. No surprise. Second, Casemiro. Gasps. The midfield patriarch had limped through Manchester United's season. Criticized for lost duels and lost sprint speed, Yet Ancelotti's voice never wavered. Leadership, he reasoned, doesn't expire even when legs do. Antony followed, fresh from a turbulent year in Manchester and now seeking redemption at Hellas Verona. Richarlison, written off as injury-prone by Spurs fans, also made the cut. Ancelotti's message was clear. Form matters, but mindset matters more. Each veteran knows the weight of the badge and the cost of failure. In a squad littered with prodigies barely old enough to rent a car, that ballast could be priceless. Yet the call-up list became front-page news not because of who was in it, but because of who was left out. Neymar da Silva Santos Jr., absent. Officially, coach and player agreed. The star would skip June to complete his fitness program after a brutal ACL tear. Unofficially, whispers linked the no-show to a glamorous charity auction scheduled for the 10th of June, the same night Brazil hosts Paraguay. Whatever the reason, Brazil's talisman will watch from a box seat, gold watch gleaming, while younger forwards fight for his legacy. Rodrigo and Endrick injured. Eder Militão still in rehabilitation. The casualty list reads like a VIP section, and it thrusts new faces into the spotlight. But as every storyteller knows, absence creates tension, and tension keeps viewers hooked. For Ancelotti, it's also tactical freedom. Without Neymar's gravitational pull, he can redraw the attack from scratch. Freedom breeds surprises, and the Italian delivered 3 that lit up social media. First shock, Hugo Sousa, a 26-year-old Corinthians goalkeeper whose reaction to the call-up, tears, hugs, a viral locker room video, won hearts nationwide. Tall, elastic, fearless on crosses, he embodies the hunger Ancelotti wants. Second, Ederson from Atalanta, long praised in Serie A for box-to-box power, yet bizarrely ignored by previous regimes. Fans who watch the Bergamo side know his 60-yard charges and thunderous tackles could give Brazil the steal it lost when Fernandinho retired. Third, Andre Santos, the 20-year-old Chelsea loanee who silenced League One crowds with 10 goals for Strasbourg while playing deep midfield. Analysts label him Casemiro 2.0 with upgrades. Ancelotti simply calls him a sponge. He soaks up instructions and never drips nerves. Together, these wildcards prove the new coach is selecting profiles, not reputations. It's a risk. But high-reward gambles make history. Of course, profiles mean nothing without a blueprint. Imagine the chalkboard, a classic 4-3-3 out of possession, morphing into a 4-2-2-2 in possession. Wesley and Alex Sandro tuck into midfield channels, allowing Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha to abandon the touchline and attack half spaces. Casemiro stays home, Ederson roams, Andreas Pereira threads vertical passes. Up front, Mateus Cunha is less a striker than a chaos agent, dragging center backs to free corridors for the wingers. Ancelotti tested a similar shape during Real Madrid's 2023 title run, sacrificing width for overloads near the box. Brazilian observers worry it strays from joga bonito, but the coach shakes his head. Beauty without structure is just noise. He wants a team that can press like Germany, counter like France, yet still dance like Rio when the moment is right. Theory meets reality in 6 days' time, 2,700 meters above sea level. On 5th June, the Seleção step into Guayaquil's Estadio Monumental, where humid air clings like a second skin, and Ecuador sit 2 points above them in the table. The hosts fancy an upset. Brazil need a statement. 5 days later, a sold-out Neo Química Arena welcomes Paraguay, and the nation's verdict on Ancelotti's first week. Win both and Brazil vaults back into the automatic qualification spots, while public faith skyrockets. Stumble and the questions sharpen. Did the CBF gamble its future on a nostalgia-soaked myth? Yet, even in Brazil, hope is renewable energy. All it needs is a spark. From the ashes of a 4-goal humiliation, rises a 65-year-old Italian with 5 European crowns and a suitcase full of calm authority. Carlo Ancelotti's first call-up is more than a list. It's a manifesto. Veterans asked to relight dying embers, rookies told to seize destiny, and an entire nation poised between cynicism and belief. So here's the question. Only the pitch can answer. Will Brazil's boldest gamble since Pelé's teenage debut pay off? Or will the weight of the world's heaviest shirt crush even Don Carlo's legendary composure? Drop your prediction below, because come kickoff in Guayaquil, talk ends and the new era begins.